Hey, what's up, guys? If this is your first time here and you know of Review Tech USA, but you don't know of me, there's two videos on Review Tech USA's channel in regards to me. In regards to me being an obnoxious prick for comedic entertainment in regards to the Xbox One S was an upgrade and something else he decided he wanted to discuss in regards to basically me calling him a charlatan. He's a snake oil salesman on YouTube, okay? There's people that regurgitate you video game articles and stir up drama in the YouTube gaming community for revenue and profit. That's fine. That's what people do. I don't get off on it. What I did enjoy doing, because I am creative and I have my own opinions and ideas, I wanted to take things that I saw in the gaming community and create my own ridiculousness to where I could make people laugh. Unfortunately, my channel got removed, yada, yada, yada. We don't have time for all that. And so, this is just a real video. As real as I can get. This has been on my mind since this video was posted on November the 30th. I think I've even attempted to make this video a couple of times, but didn't like the way it came out. But I do have subscribers that do suffer from depression, so I did want to discuss this, and I did want to point out some things. It's no secret that Rich from Review Tech USA doesn't like me. I mean, he lost his mind for 30 minutes with his shirt on inside out, not showing any video, mind you, of just him ranting and raving at the screen in regards to my comedy, me being a sarcastic prick over the Xbox One S being an upgrade. Later on, I did come out and I mentioned that he was a charlatan, basically. That's not the exact word I used, but for this video, that's what we'll use. And he didn't like that either. I'm just calling it like I see it, okay? And if this guy can continue to talk about people on YouTube that are bigger than he is for clickbait and ad revenue, then I should be able to have my opinion on my channel. And I should be able to voice my opinion on things that I feel are important and that I want to talk about. And obviously, if I can't do that in a comedic manner, because he'll use my outlandish behavior against me, then let me just have a normal conversation. So, it's no mystery that Rich doesn't like me, and I don't like Rich. I don't have a problem with Rich. I have a problem when Rich bullshits people, okay? And when I see things that I think is somebody manipulating you, emotionally manipulating you, just bullshitting you in general, okay? So, with that said, we're going to listen to some audio, and I just want to point some things out. Because I had a conversation with one of my subscribers today, Rudy, and it kind of motivated me in this direction for this video. Another thing that motivated me in this direction for this video is I had a shitty day at work. And a lot of the times, guys, that's how my videos that were outlandish on my previous channel would get made. I had a shitty day, or I had a shitty week, and I bottled all that up, and I put on the angry gamer persona, like Angry Grandpa, right? And I just pulled as much obnoxious, butthole, funny, sarcastic prick out of myself that I could for other people's entertainment. One of the things that got on my nerves with Rich was not only was he regurgitating other people's news articles, which is fine if that's what he wants to do, but when you start regurgitating other people's videos or other people's talking points, like just recently, I think the guy's name is Jake Uger from the Young Turks. He just did a video on that. It just uploaded. Conveniently, though, I notice somebody made that video 3 days before he did, and he titled it the same, and then just titled it, Just Deal With It. So it seems a lot of the times, even like with this Halo video, someone always conveniently inspires that video. So if he's not regurgitating talking points from a video game article, he's regurgitating someone's talking points from a video. And when I started catching him doing that with my videos, that's when I decided to start pointing out things that bothered me about Rich from Review Tech USA. Now, I know people would want evidence, but that would take all day. We're going to talk about this at hand. This has already become long-winded. Okay, so this is what I want you to hear. And I'm just being upfront. I don't like bullshitters. Okay? Consider supporting his Patreon, blah, 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 blah.
No, the title of this video is not clickbait. Halo 3 may have literally ended up saving my life.
No, the title of this is not clickbait. Halo 3 literally saved my life. Well, clearly he knows it's clickbait, or he wouldn't immediately start off the video, because he knows that that is a preposterous fucking title. Halo 3 saved his life, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So now, let's skip ahead to 10 minutes into this nonsense, so that you can hear, somewhat what I had to listen to, what everybody had to listen to, the cat's playing with toys in the background.
Somewhere she would hold the dog. She wasn't there to hold the dog. It was me and this insane dog. So I basically I was held hostage.
He was held
in a
hostage.
closet-sized bedroom that we lived in.
In a closet-sized bedroom.
And I couldn't get out the entire time she was working her.
Already. Held hostage, insane dog, closet-sized bedroom. This guy couldn't even fit in a fucking closet, okay? So I'm supposed to believe he was in a closet-sized bedroom. Come on. No less he slept in that bed with somebody else. This guy? Come on. Now, I know he's put on some pounds over the years, okay? And I know he told everybody it's not right to be fat, right? And then he gained weight. But that's another reason why, I don't have an issue that he's a heavy guy, but, there's another video where he reprimands people of his size and then proceeds to get bigger, okay? So,
shift. Also, too, many of you are probably wondering, Rich, why didn't she put the dog in a cage? Well, one, the dog was fairly large, and two, she was obsessed with this dog, my ex-girlfriend, and she felt putting him in a cage was inhumane, even though the dog was the most psychotic, vicious dog I've ever met in my life.
Most psychotic,
talk about
vicious
an
dog.
Insane situation. But you know what got me through it?
What got him through?
I decided to put Halo in the 360.
Psychotic, vicious dog attacks.
I had that in the bedroom.
Halo 3.
And I had people with me because I was playing online on Xbox Live. I played with people for my job. I played with some of my friends, and we did some death matches, and we
so
did that
maybe the people helped save your life.
Even though I was
Not
in one
Halo
of the
3.
strangest and crappiest situations I've ever been in, living in a terrible apartment in a terrible area with a dog that I think seriously was probably plotting to kill me.
Plotting to kill him.
I got through it, and it didn't feel that bad because
of Halo 3.
I had Halo 3, and I had people to talk to, and I was having fun. It was an awful situation that if I didn't have Halo 3 and video games to get me through it, I probably would have lost my mind.
He would have lost his mind.
Talk about awkward. Here's a little side note. Because I couldn't leave the bedroom because the dog was in the living room and the way the apartment was set up, it had to be that way. I had to pee
outside the
in
door.
bottles in the bedroom.
So he had to pee in Coke bottles.
I had to pee in bottles.
A grown man.
And I had to pee a few times that night.
In a closet-sized bedroom,
the
pissing in
smaller
bottles.
20-ounce soda bottles full of pee. I was peeing in bottles. I was in an awful apartment, and I was in a room the size of a somewhat decent-sized closet, but it all felt okay.
Now it's a somewhat decent-sized closet. Okay, the closet has now started to get a little bigger. Okay, so we're just going to skip ahead. Now, we're not skipping for any various reason, guys, because somebody will tell you that. We're just skipping just so you can hear the key points, okay? So we don't have to listen to 25 minutes worth of nonsense and, he make money off of 3 commercials. By the way, this is a video about how Halo 3 saved his life. He mentions he was maybe dealing with some depression, but yet this is still monetized, okay? And as far as we know, none of that money is going to any charity.
Without having a panic attack. It was that bad.
It was that bad.
Luckily, even though this may not sound like a lucky thing for me to say, luckily, a friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, also lost his job at the same time too. And he had an Xbox 360. And we would always talk. Back then, this is still when, Yahoo Messenger and AIM were still relevant.
So it was probably his friend that saved his life.
And he goes to me,
through
"You know
the
Halo
constant
3,
interaction, right?
And I was like,
if you're
yeah.
going to say
If I
Halo
would
3
play it
saved
online,
your
I'm
life,
like, no,
you might as well
I'm
say
over that
Xbox
game.
Live
It's
saved
so
your life.
overrated, blah, 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 blah. And he goes to me, you need to shut up and put it in your system. We're going to play online. I have nothing else to do, and you have nothing else to do. And he was right. But I was also making excuses, too, because I was so in a funk that I just, even like picking up a controller at that time, like, was too much energy. That's how bad I was.
Too much energy to pick up a controller?
But he convinced me to do it, and we started
deeply
to play.
Depressed.
And at that moment, I'm like, wow, this game is making me feel better. And I got to actually talk voice to voice with one of my closest friends.
It's good we got music
going. So it felt
going
like I was having
right here.
a human interaction. And all of that anxiety,
you were having human interaction,
all of that
Rich.
misery,
You were talking to your friend online.
My life being in a rut, how I had to move back home, how I was single again, how my job that I thought was going to end up at least starting to lead me to a good career crumbled right in front of me. All this stuff that just did this like well of misery I was just waiting in. When I played Halo Online and talked to him and played the game, I forgot about all that. I felt good. I almost felt like I was a kid again, and I was playing GoldenEye.
Because you were off your ass interacting with your friends.
Because I was having
you were still
human
on your
interaction,
ass,
voice to voice. I almost felt like I was playing like 4-player split screen. And it started to become a habit. It started to become something we would do nightly. Like, we would do our thing, look for jobs during the day, and do.
Okay, so we'll skip ahead a little bit. I think he says something interesting. 21-25, maybe. Let's see.
My anxiety just like getting to the point where I was shaking, and just I would. It was almost like an antidepressant playing.
Halo 3 was an antidepressant for this man.
Real world problems, and think of how much my life was a mess, and I would think, man, my life is totally terrible right now. And
now maybe you're thinking your life is totally terrible because you're not keeping your mind busy. As soon as you play the game, you're online with your buddy, your buddy's talking to you, you're chit-chatting. Obviously, you're not thinking that your life is a fucking mess, okay? So it wasn't Halo 3 that saved your life. Xbox Live, your friend, together combined, any fucking game, but it was Halo 3.
Then I would sit down with that controller, I would put on my headset, I would talk to friends online,
there
especially
you go.
that one friend that I just mentioned before, that I won't say his name. And all that went away. I could be on the brink of having a terrible panic attack, and as soon as I would put on Halo, I would feel my anxiety decrease. And
it wasn't when you turned on Halo. It was when you started to interact with your friend, okay?
I just remember dumb things like we would play with this girl that was in the...
All right, we don't need to hear about girly girl. All right, so we'll get over to here and see what...
On the brink of thinking that I was going to have to go to a psychiatric hospital. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating.
He was on the brink of thinking he was going to have to go to a psychiatric hospital. Okay?
It was that bad. I was pacing around in my living room, not knowing what to do.
You're never on the brink of thinking you need to go to a psychiatric hospital, and a video game fixes all of that. That never fucking happens. Trust me.
Because I just felt like the walls were closing in on me. And then I would get in front of Halo, and that feeling would go away. I would get in front of Halo 3, and it gave me a sense of comfort that nothing else could do. And I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for that at that time. I was in a really dark place, and that game, Halo 3, may have literally saved my life, because
he was in a really dark place, and Halo 3 may have saved his life. And then he thanks Bungie. Thank you, Bungie. No. What saved your life was that constant interaction with your compadre online. That is what saved your life. And maybe the fact that you might have been medicated back then, but you didn't bother to tell anybody that in the story. Okay, so now we're going to jump ahead. Because that seems rather personal, rather detailed, right? And there's nothing wrong with that if somebody wants to share some personal information. Like I did on my last video in kind of regards to this situation, because some of you are probably thinking right now, are you making the same video? No. But my dog saved my life when I tried to commit suicide.
Consider supporting Review Tech US.
The guy has a Patreon. Go toss him some change. Say, hey, I saw you over here on Killer Comedy Unleashed's channel. He promoted you, and so I'm just going to throw you a couple of dollars because he made a good video, okay? Since I don't have a Patreon, guys. And since he was in a deep, dark place over Halo 3. So, now, here's the thing. There's a guy called Dr. Disrespect, all right? And this guy disrespected his wife by cheating on her, okay? So he screwed some other woman. He made some video discussing it with his subscribers. And Rich decided to make a video in regards to that information. And the video is only 7 minutes and 10 seconds long. Now, what can you possibly be telling everyone in 7 minutes and 10 seconds? Basically, that the guy cheated on his wife. You're really not adding anything into the mix here. You're not giving anybody any I don't know, palpable information, okay? So, I wanted to get to that. So let's move to 3:30, okay? Because I think you need to hear this.
No, that's not what I'm saying, but...
And by the way, I'm using a Wii U pad. Yes, Rich, I'm still using a Wii U pad. And currently, I'm not using a tripod, but somebody did mail me a tripod through a P.O. box. Okay? If anybody's keeping count. Okay?
To bring it into the public eye, if there was no other reason to me, was kind of dumb.
So Rich is telling you the fact that this guy has talked about cheating on his wife and bringing that into the public eye was just dumb. Well, is that as dumb as telling everybody a video game saved your life? Now, mind you, Rich made Halo 3 saved his life on November the 30th. Now, just 15 days later, on December the 15th, he's telling you that Dr. Disrespect, bringing that into the public light, him cheating on his wife, is just dumb. And now, of course, he has no problem talking about it for 7 minutes, right? Of course not. Does he give us any words of wisdom? Not really, except for it's stupid to cheat on your wife. Okay, I think we all pretty much know that, depending on where our moral compass sits. But let's go over to, I think, 6:05 to 6:37, and let's listen.
Much as I don't agree with what he did, I don't think that his career as a live streamer should end. But again, if he just did this out of guilt and his wife wasn't going to come forward with anything, there was no reason for it. It should have been kept behind closed doors. It should have been kept private. If there was no kind of sexual assault that he did or anything else, this is something that's handled between a family. It's not something that needed to be made publicized. Because again, I said this, remember I said a long time ago with my 200,000 subscriber video. Once you put your personal nonsense out there, it'll always come back for years to come to haunt you. So if he just, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for that at that time. I was in a really dark place, and that game, Halo 3, may have literally saved my life, because I...
Wait a minute.
That game, Halo 3, may have literally saved my life, because I I was in a place I've never been before, I've never been since, and never want to go back to. He just did this out of guilt, and his wife wasn't going to come forward with anything. There was no reason for it. It should have been kept behind closed doors. It should have been kept private. If there was no kind of sexual assault that he did or anything else, this is something that's handled between a family. It's not something that needed to be made publicized. Because again, I said this, I remember I said a long time ago with my 200,000 subscriber video, once you put your personal nonsense out there, it'll always come back for years to come to haunt you. So
anyway, I'm making this video and it looks like my garbage disposal is trying to catch fire. So we're just going to throw that in there real quickly. So my problem is, you know, he gives you this sob story in regards to Halo 3, a video game almost saved his life. And that was on November the 30th. But then just 15 days later, he's telling you that this guy never should have gave out that kind of personal information because it's going to haunt you, right? So it makes me think, well then which video do I believe? Which is truth? Is it truth that he honestly thinks Halo 3 saved his life? Or did he make that for clickbait? Or did he make this video about this guy cheating on his wife? Did he make that for clickbait? I'm assuming he made that for clickbait since it's only 7 minutes and he really doesn't give you anything palpable, right? But he made a 25-minute video about depression. And then he goes nowhere. Tells you he was locked in a small closet that was really a living room where he's pissing in Coke bottles, and, you know, he had a mid-sized crazy dog outside that was going to kill him, and thank God for Halo 3, and he was pissing in bottles. But it to me, that sounds like somebody just giving you just enough. Just enough. Clearly there's a story there about depression, but he doesn't really want to tell you that because he wants to manipulate his audience. He wants to emotionally manipulate you. He wants to give you just enough. Just enough to move people for his personal benefit. You know, you got a 25-minute video, you got 3 hits in it to where you get paid for 3 commercials, and you got a Patreon jingle at the beginning of it. So to me, it just doesn't seem very sincere. It doesn't ring sincere, no less when it's about a video game. It's a soft sell to gain control. You know, I'm going to give you just a little bit. So that's my problem. It just has that how can you meet his needs and keep him happy kind of thing. You know, which is he produces a 25-minute video. There's 3 commercials in that 25-minute video. There's a Patreon. And once again, not saying anything in regards to Patreon, because I would love to have a Patreon. I spent about $3,000 just opening up retro games for my subscribers, and now I'm having to pay that off. So having a Patreon would be fantastic for that. Meanwhile, there's smoke all through here because my garbage disposal literally just caught on fire, and I'm still waiting for the maintenance people to get here. I unplugged everything. I have a fire extinguisher nearby. Hopefully we won't record any of that. So it just seems kind of half-assed to me, and it bothered me because once again he said right here not to give any of that personal information, and you can tell there was something deep and dark that he wasn't talking about. So how can a video game have saved his life in regards to that? So let me tell you what one of my subscribers that's suffering from depression wrote me. He said, I suffer from depression too, and I found Rich's video to be pretty insulting. While games can be good and distracting from depression, yes, distraction, it's not helping in any way. His story is pretty pathetic, and the people who should be credited for helping him are ignored in favor of a video game company. Adding insult to injury is the fact that he puts ads through parts of his sob story. Any money from that video should be given to suicide prevention or something similar. That's what one of my subscribers wrote me. Multiple subscribers wrote me various things in regards to that ridiculous video. But today I was talking to somebody about me getting put into 2 drug rehabilitation centers. So I'm going to share some personal information. Hold on. It's smoky in here. See, I'm serious as a heart attack. No, so I have epilepsy and I had anger issues when I was younger because my mom was a manipulative bitch, okay? So when I watch Review Tech USA, I see someone that tries to manipulate their audience. And that's what I see. And so when I see someone tell you this sob, Halo 3 saved my life, and exaggerates about the size of the dog, and exaggerates about the size of the room, and, you know, just exaggerates every detail, it makes me think of someone that's emotionally manipulating you for their benefit, because that's what my mother used to do to me. And I almost made my dad cry on Christmas Eve, and that's what brought all this to fruition, and me being upset with work today, and me discussing this with various people on my Google Hangouts, my personal life, was I got sent to 2 drug rehabilitation centers even though I wasn't on drugs. And I told my stepfather, who's pretty much my dad, while we're eating Christmas Eve dinner, I said, when y'all put me in those drug rehabilitation centers, even though I wasn't on drugs, and it was year after year, so it was during the summer, you threw me in a drug rehabilitation center, then you drove me out to the middle of nowhere to some other city and threw me in another drug rehabilitation center. I said it made me want to get out of the house as soon as I could at a young age because I felt that I wasn't wanted. And I choked up when I said that because that's still hard as a grown man to have to tell your father that. And I've never had that conversation with my stepdad. And I've never seen my stepdad cry. And at that moment, my stepfather almost cried. But we got into a different subject matter. And he said, that was all your mom's doing. I had nothing to do with that. Your mother wanted that. And I can understand how you felt that way. And Rich's video about Halo 3 and supposedly it saving him from depression just rang as total bullshit. It rang as someone emotionally manipulating you for their benefit. Feel sorry for me just enough, but I'm not going to tell you my real deep dark secrets and that I was heavily medicated and that I wanted to kill myself and blah 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 and all the deep dark secrets. I just happened to watch a Halo 3 video, and there's multiple Halo 3 videos out on YouTube around that time, and I just needed a subject matter to discuss. I gave the guy a shout out in regards to Halo 3, and voila, magically I remember that Halo 3 saved my life. And it just rings to me as someone that's been emotionally manipulated by an adult. When I see an adult like that on YouTube, it just rings as true, 100% grade A bullshit. And here's another subscriber, thinks the same way I do. And I wasn't even trying to make a funny video, guys. I know I kind of made a funny video in regards to that subject matter before, and then I kind of toned it down and told you a true story about my dog saving my life. I keep looking over there because my door's hanging wide open. I'm hoping the maintenance people are going to pop in any minute since my girlfriend's like, hey, it's smoking. But apparently they don't give a shit if everything burns down. So, yeah, by what he said in regards to somebody sleeping with another person here, and by what he said, those videos don't add up. And they're just 15 days apart from each other. And so I just wanted to discuss that and figure, hey, if you want to troll me over going to 2 drug rehabilitation centers, even though I wasn't on drugs, have at it. I mean, that's pretty screwed up. So I know about depression because that's one thing that's constantly haunted me all my life. And, you know, the story is my mother sent me there because of my epilepsy and my behavior. But if my mom could have got a handle on her mental illness, then maybe I wouldn't have had to go to a place like that. So I see people, I know people that manipulate people, and I can tell when people are manipulating people. There's also fat guys that tell you they love you and want to sell everybody's kid a loot box, okay, and feel sorry for me kind of bullshit. I just got a divorce. There's those guys out there on YouTube too that I don't buy into their bullshit either. So with that said, guys, hopefully somehow this has helped somebody. Take care. Have a great day.